Hi, it's Friday, February 21st, 2020, and I am Michael James Otten, and I am the host of the Pro and Con Show. Welcome to the show once again. So, again, the purpose of the show, always just take just a moment here at the beginning. Bear with me, those of you that watch the show on a regular basis. Encourage all of us to be better citizens, all right? You got to listen to these opposing views, and especially, how did you get to where you are? How did you arrive at the place where you are? Tell me. I'm interested. Please give me the information that got you to where you are. And I would ask, out of respect, that you would do the same for me. Give me the information, or let me give you the information that has allowed me to get where I am on the position where I am. What other information are we missing? Is there some conflicting stuff? Can we resolve it together? Can we get on the same page? Can we get on the same sheet of music? Can we get on the same playing field? All those metaphors. Okay? Now, I often also talk about the fact that we have to focus on the facts, right? And avoid all the bias and try to show that the hand. No, I'm not going to listen. I'm not going to listen to the panel of so-called experts tell me what 2 seconds where the facts mean, and I don't want to listen to them talk for 2 hours, especially when they're yelling and screaming at me, about how stupid somebody is or whatever. This is not helpful. And you people, all of you, are intelligent enough to take the facts, that is the who, the what, the where, and the when, and decide for yourself what you think it means. Okay, you don't need a panel of experts from whatever source to tell you what it means. Now, we often would go through, there's 5 different websites. So on the right, we have Breitbart and Fox News. Central is mostly NPR. And then CNN, and then Huffington Post is some of the things. And I went on here. There's breaking news right now. I hate to use that CNN term. There's news happening right now that Senator Sanders, who of course is one of the top candidates in the Democratic field for the Democratic nomination, has been informed by U.S. intelligence agencies that the Russians are promoting his candidacy, and he's been told this, and so now this is information that now is in the public domain, and of course Mr. Sanders says that he has no hope or affinity for the Russians. Get out of our elections, and he's like, and by God, if I am elected president, you will be not participating in and interfering in our elections going forward. So very strong statements from him, as opposed to Mr. Trump, who says it's all a big hoax. Don't listen to any of the intelligence people in our own country that have repeatedly said that this is going on, has been going on, is going on, will go on. And oh, by the way, when just a few days ago, when yet another intelligence manager, executive in that organization briefed Congress yet again about apparently this truthful thing that the Russians are interfering in our election and attempting to do so, attempting to alter it, and attempting to sow chaos and discord, that's for sure. He was summarily fired by Mr. Trump. Interesting. But so I was going to look at those 5 websites, and apparently this information about Mr. Sanders is so new that, for example, the Huffington Post has no. I've looked through their posting here. They have not posted anything yet. And instead, their top thing is the fellow that got fired, his replacement. And they call him the spy chief, has a shady past. Of course, Huffington Post. That's what they're going to say. But anyway. CNN, I'll just show you this headline so you can see that I'm not making this up when I tell you this. So Sanders has been told that Russia is trying to help his campaign as well. Let's go to NPR. So NPR doesn't have, they have a few things about politics, but their main story is actually on the environment. So the Antarctic is melting. And why is that? Because of record warm. Now, there's also some other stuff here about Mr. Bloomberg. If you watch the debates, Senator Warren really pressed him on, hey, you have these non-disclosure agreements with these women that accused you of various things. Will you release them from those agreements? During the debate, he said, no, probably going to just stick with those and let those agreements stay in place. They were negotiated in fairness, and the parties, did that to keep the thing quiet. Well, now he has gone in, and there's a handful of these that he's now apparently presuming that he's reviewed them, and he and his staff are saying, yes, we are releasing handfuls of these people from their non-disclosure agreements, so they are free to speak to the press about the issues that caused us to come to those agreements. And then of course, Mr. Trump is going to wherever the Democrats are going in their primary process. He's going there also. So he's in Vegas because the Nevada caucuses are tomorrow, and so he's predicting November caucus issues for the crazy Dems. So more rhetoric from him. And then Breitbart, okay, they and CNN both have this headline, so they at least picked it up. So Bernie Sanders briefed that Russia is trying to help his campaign. So the title of this show today is Russians, and there is I've talked about it in the past, and I strongly recommend it. I'm going to try to find it here, but I think it's called The Great Hack, and I'm going to verify that it's still on Netflix. Many of us subscribe to Netflix in one way or another. We know somebody that does. And so I'm just going to see if The Great Hack is still here. The Great Hack. Let's see what we got here. Yep. So I'm sure that the methodologies and techniques that are currently at play. For example, I read today that the Russians have abandoned any use of servers outside of the country, and now they are focused. They have operatives here within the boundaries of the United States, and they are using servers within the United States because they know that by our own internal laws, there are certain agencies in our government that normally would help shield us from some of this interference, and those agencies are prevented by law from actually acting inside our borders. Pretty smart. The Russians are not stupid. Okay, it's Mr. Putin and his lieutenants. These are not stupid people. Quite the contrary. Quite the opposite. They are vicious, intelligent, aggressive people who are really, I have to get, and I've talked about this in the past, and if you watch The Great Hack, you'll see other people comment about this. They are doing an incredibly good job interfering with, making people concerned about, doubting the American political process. And it's, they have to be standing back and just thinking, wow, this is so great, because it can't be costing them more than a few $1,000,000 a year to do this. Now, a few $1,000,000 may sound like a lot of money to you and I as individuals, but to a government like Russia, which admittedly is, their economy and everything's a lot smaller than the United States, but still, a few $1,000,000. I mean, this is the price of a warplane, a single warplane or something. It's nothing. And they are able to sow all this discord and discontent and chaos and doubt in our elections and in what is happening here in this country. And we have to, folks, we have to really stand forward and really aggressively address this. And you know, I was watching one of the programs, and somebody said, well, the heck with, you know, the discussion about who they're helping or whatever. Why isn't every member of the Senate and every member of the House of Representatives, even if the president is going to ignore this, why aren't every single member of our government, other than the president, who's, you know, seems intent on ignoring it, why aren't they demanding and, you know, passing legislation and you know, they should have a massive focus on you know, investigating, demanding, you know, these agencies protect us, and you know, discussions about how these agencies are planning to try to curb or fend off these these you know, pretty darn clever misinformation things that are going on. Okay. And how they're happening is, you know, the technology got out ahead of us. Okay, technology got out ahead of us. So we had things like Facebook and Twitter and Instagram and whatever. And at first, oh, you know, sharing birthdays and stuff like that. Oh, that's great. But then the dark side of it is, and not regulated and not well understood and not projected or predicted very well, was the fact that foreign entities or other entities that shouldn't be involved in manipulating public opinion are doing exactly that on these new, relatively new platforms that they got out ahead of us. So we got to stop this. So you should be calling. In fact, I've showed you in the past, I have both senators and a local representative for my district on my phone here in Wisconsin. And I'm going to call them all and leave messages for them. Of course, they won't answer their office phones, but I can leave messages, and I will. And specifically telling them, look, you've got to get after this. Don't wait on the president. Don't, you know, get after it. Start talking in the chambers of both houses of Congress about how you're going to protect the most important process in our whole structure of democracy: voting and information provided to the voters so they can make educated choices. All right, so watch The Great Hack on Netflix. It is eye-opening. Please do that. All right, so for Friday, thank God it's Friday, February 21st, 2020, I'm Michael James Ott. Until the next show, which probably won't be tomorrow or Sunday. I'm traveling 2 days in a row. I'm going to go down and see my sister in Texas. So it's probably going to be a couple of days where I'm out of pocket. But until the next show in a couple of days, bye for now.